Hello. This is my first video on this channel. Uh, I've always wanted to start a channel talking about politics and the such. I didn't think I would be doing it this early, but Charlie Kirk's assassination has convinced me that now, above all, is the time to act. It's the time to start this, and uh, still affecting me, even though it's been what like a little bit less than a week now. I think tomorrow will be a week since Charlie Kirk's assassination. He was a major inspiration for me wanting to do this and me engaging more in the world of politics. It actually started with video games and movies, shows, and stuff. Uh, it pushed. I was always right wing by nature, but this, you know, I, you know, again, that Charlie Kirk's death has motivated me that it has motivated me and convinced me that now it's the time to act. It's the time to hold truth above all and to spread it because there are so many that would have us silenced. Yeah, and yeah, again, I think it would have been what Charlie Kirk wanted, that we, the right wing, start just pulling our weight. Start start making sure that we will be the agents of change. We will return that we are the ones who will, I'd like to say, return this country to greatness, because that's the whole MAGA movement, make America great again. But I think, quite frankly, there hasn't been a country that in the shape that we wanted. Maybe at the very start, the very founding of the country. But again, it for again for the for what essentially has been the last century, or at least maybe a little bit more. Basically, ever since, or ever, I mean, I'm going to say in America that ever after World War II, the liberal culture has been predominant. But I'd say that was really ever since the Great Depression that this country has slowly descended down the rabbit hole of Marxism, and that, unfortunately, the culmination of that is that great men like Charlie Kirk are dead or die. And that, again, I think, like I said, it is now that it is time that it is now imperative that we, the right wing, speak up. That we can't sit on the sidelines, and we can't we can't pretend that it's all jolly, it's all fun and games. Or I guess it never was like that, but we can't. There's always been a certain amount of idleness from the right that, you know, you can criticize the left for stuff, but idleness is not one of them, unfortunately. But yeah, again, I think now that it's clear the left are willing to kill to silence us, it is important. It is more important now than ever that we keep up the discourse. That we, the right wing, have to keep up the discourse. Not just one guy, not just the uh, cultural figures, but it has to be us. It and again, it's weird. Uh, Despite being 17, only 17, I think that it is now more important than ever that we have to start caring about the future, about our children, our great grandchildren, that they have to live in a country, in a country that in a country where good men don't die, or I guess everyone dies, but where good men don't get assassinated for their beliefs or assassinated at all, and where the death of good men isn't celebrated by so much people. And I would like to clarify that it is very easy to get blackpilled in these times just by seeing how much deplorable people on the internet are celebrating his death and how much people are ruining memorials and vigils to Charlie Kirk. But it is important to remember that those vigils and memorials are being held and being made, and that this isn't something limited to the United States, that this is something global. And I think that's something important to note, that they did not assassinate him to suppress dissension, but they assassinated him because we are because we are winning, and that regardless of and again, I think it is important. It is important more now than ever that we keep our nonviolent ways, because I think that is the single greatest way to honor Charlie Kirk, to be aggressive in our stance and belief, but be firm in our ways of nonviolence. And that doesn't mean protecting ourselves if the left starts aiming guns at us. And again, I'm not talking about what they did to Charlie Kirk as aiming a gun at us, but I'm talking about quite literally if a leftist is physically aiming a gun at you. Again, the only I'm gonna say it flat out. We can't go around shooting liberals just because. That I think we're going to win regardless of what happens in the future. That again, we are the culture, that we are winning. We have not won, but we are on the path. That there is a light very visible at the end of the tunnel. But it would be much more meaningful, especially to the memory and to the now larger than now larger than life figure. Now, I mean, again, he's always been. I think the problem is we took him for granted, that he's always been this figure, but now that he's gone, it's much more apparent how large of a figure he was. But again, it's important that in his memory we make sure that we conduct ourselves as clean as possible, that we can make it so that people in the future remember him, remember what he stands for, and make sure that there is no way that people can rationally contest his effect and his legacy. And that, again, now it is now time to act, and I encourage all of you to act in some way, whether that's just making videos, making posts, making some form of content, or going out there and speaking. That we have to, more than ever, show that display our strength in both our character and our our numbers. That again, we aren't some minority. That we are the culture. Yeah. And again, I would like to also talk about what I plan on doing with this channel. That I always planned on doing politics, but I Charlie Kirk has inspired me, and I've always been a Christian, but it's inspired me to be a better Christian. I always kept put off. I just always kept putting off reading the Bible because, I'm only 17. My brain hasn't fully developed yet, but I can always read it again. And and that and then again, another thing I'm planning on doing is covering Christianity and my journey through reading the Bible. I'm planning on filming myself or recording myself reading the Bible and sharing what I take away from it, the lessons I learn. And yeah, And other things I want to talk about are finances and economics, because I feel that I know that in any form of democracy, it is important that people have a stake, that people have something to lose. And one way to ensure that is to make sure that people have financial reasons to care about the country. And which is why, again, I hope I probably won't do it anytime soon, but I hope that one day, when I get better, when I have a better understanding of economics and finances, I can share some advice. And I also plan on just making videos on other stuff I find interesting. Maybe, again, videos about movies, shows, video games, and yeah. And I'd like to, again, put a message out to some groups of people, to the left, who celebrates Charlie Kirk's death. And again, this is what in the recording. I might trim this down. I might not. It probably would be better to just leave the raw footage in here. But it's 11 minutes. I'm sure the the again, I'm tempted to call them far left, but I mean, again, the more I realize it, the more the quote unquote far left and the moderate left, the more they have in common. They're voting for the same people at the end of the day. If there were to be another Obama, another person to restart all this quote unquote radicalism, which, again, I call it quote unquote radicalism because there's only varying degrees of Marxism on the left, and Marxism isn't something that you just stop. It isn't something that we decide, oh, here, we'll stop it here. This is a good point. No, it's something that keeps on growing. So, again, to the left out there celebrating Charlie Kirk's death, I don't care what you call me, what you have to say. I see what you do. I see how you cheer for death. Again, I quite frankly don't care what you call me. To the left, who is not cheering, who realizes how bad it is, the message I want to put out to you is that the time of your politics is done, that your politics has led up to this, that this is only a natural evolution of Marxism, and that it is time for conservatism to have its time under the spotlight. It is time, it is our time. And that, quite frankly, what I suggest, stay on the sideline. That, again, reap the benefits of our system. Sure, keep your beliefs, but after we deal with the quote unquote far left, that doesn't mean it's time that we shake in the middle and say, oh, you get some stuff, we get some stuff. No, it is time now more than ever, and this is my message to the right. It is time now that it is more important than ever that we make no concessions. And again, this does not mean violence, but what this means is that we are firm in our stance, we are firm in our resolution. That we don't give an inch because we know they'll take a mile, because they have historically taken a mile every time they received an inch. And that we make no concessions, and that we stand for the truth and nothing but the truth. We stand, most importantly, for God, for family, and for country. In that order, as Charlie Kirk would have wanted. And that we have to spread the message. And I genuinely hope that some of you, I guess, I hope that all of you, but I hope at the very least some of you join me on this journey, not only on my channel, but on sharing the message, on sharing our faith, on sharing the truth. And that, again, I hope that what people take from Charlie Kirk's death is not despair, it's not anger. Oh, well, no, at least not unadulterated anger, but it is anger focused at creating change. It's anger focused on molding our world to meet the likes of Charlie Kirk's image of the world, of conservatism, and of the new conservative movement. The conservative, again, by new conservative, new conservatism, I mean, the conservatism where Christianity is embedded in our ideas, our politics. Because again, ever the left and people say that, oh, the parties have switched. They really haven't. You might have had some people like Theodore Roosevelt who were our quote unquote progressive Republicans. But again, that's because what has happened in essence is consolidation between parties. Uh, and that again, you can see in history, the Democrats have always been the left. That they've always been for the same things. Back when they were the party of farmers, they were for free farming tools, free farming equipment, and free seed sheds. Again, free stuff. They were, I mean, they were in some sort of way they were for reparations. Not really in the modern sense, but in the and I guess the better word is equity. That they were I mean, again, they were jealous that uh the North was getting that industrialism was proving the route, that slavery really it was the old thing. Despite in essence them trying to continue, but that's another topic for another day. But again, they've always been for free stuff. They've always been for equity. They've always been they've always thrown a fit whenever they don't get their way. I mean, you can see that like, oh, whenever the free state, or whenever uh whenever the other party, again, that other party has changed. It was only during the Civil War that the other party was the Republican Party. But again, whenever they didn't get their way, they were screaming and crying out like children, like the immature children they are today, about oh, we didn't get our way, and and again, they for other things, they were always for their free or cheap labor. I guess you still had to feed the slaves, so it would still be quote unquote cheap labor. Uh, but yeah, again, they've always been for the same thing, and again, and sorry if my brain's a bit it's still a bit tired from the events of this week. I mean, again, though Charlie Kirk was the thing that struck me most, uh, that the Ukrainian refugee Irina, like, that was also pretty bad. And again, for neither Charlie Kirk or the Ukrainian refugee, I didn't watch the video for either. Uh, and watching someone die is just something I don't want to do. Especially for Charlie Kirk, because again, I'm still I'm looking back in these videos, I'm still enjoying them. I feel there will be there's already a different feeling, but I'm pretty sure there'll be a much different feeling if I actually watch his death. But yeah, again, I want to stress the importance that we have to, and again, I want to spread the importance of continuing Charlie Kirk's message, continuing the message of God, family, and country in that order, because if you care about God, if you care about the Bible, I mean, you'll logically follow everything. If you care about your family, about the world your family will be in, uh, you'll logically be conservative. If you care about your country and the state of your country, you will again logically be conservative. You'll again, it's important to have that trinity, to have a trinity in that order. That it's important to fight for those things, because those things are what matter most in the end. That are eternal life in the afterlife, uh, our family that, and again, especially as men, uh, it is important to protect our family, to make sure the well-being of our family is met, and it is important to take care of our countrymen. Uh, our country, our countrymen. And again, by countrymen, I mean fellow right wingers, because At this point, I don't think you could call the left exactly American. I don't think they've ever been, but especially now, there really isn't any links. And yeah, again, like I said, I hope that some of you can join me on this journey, both as a viewer and as a fellow creator. And sorry, I see this video has gone on for 20 minutes. Again, in all honesty, I'm probably not going to edit it. I think it's better that I don't edit it to just capture my feelings, and I guess really how has affected me. But yeah, again, I like I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but I tried recording this. For some reason, my settings were wrong, so my audio cut out like 20 seconds in. So I don't know if I've uh, talked about. Sorry, I lost my train of thought, but yeah, again, like I said, continue to fight for the truth and continue to fight for God, family, and our country, and can keep up the discourse. Do not commit acts of violence. Stay nonviolent. That is the best way to honor Kirk's memory. And yeah, I guess hopefully see you in the next video. Bye.